And welcome back to another Pillars of Progress podcast from MCL Construction. I'm Travis Justice, and today's episode takes us to the intersection of education and healthcare, where compassion meets innovation. For more than 130 years, Clarkson College has prepared the next generation of healthcare professionals. We're talking nurses, technicians, therapists, and leaders who care for our communities when they need it the most. I'm joined today by someone who's leading that charge, Dr. Andrea Niebel, the president of Clarkson College. We'll talk about how this Omaha institution is embracing change, expanding opportunities, and shaping the future of healthcare education, including a few surprises, like a new mascot and a $30 million capital campaign. It's a story of growth, innovation, and service, and it starts right here on Pillars of Progress.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So you walk in today and I learned something for the very first time. You hand me this mug and it says the Clarkson College Falcons. Now, in a previous life, I did a lot of sports and I had no idea that Clarkson College had a mascot. When did this happen?
Literally a month ago. So we've been planning it for a while. Our symbol is the Maltese cross, and we live by those Beatitudes as well. But the students and the faculty and staff were excited about having a mascot. We don't have sports, but having still wanting to have that mascot, and when you're coming to college, feel like you have that college experience. So after about a year and a half of planning and voting and artwork, we're officially the Clarkson College Falcons.
A year and a half to do this?
Mm-hmm.
What, so you had voting. What were some of the other things that came up?
Trailblazers, comets, the pictures. We even did the art so the students could vote on the artwork, and it's been fun.
See, now I want a Falcons sweatshirt. I want a Falcons T-shirt. Because I'm into gear. This has got me like motivated.
Good. I'll send you the QR code. We can do it right online. You can order all your stuff.
Or I can just go down to the bookstore, right?
Yep. You can go to the bookstore, which really aren't bookstores anymore these days.
I know.
mean, they're mostly for snacks and gear, and you pick up some pens.
I just sent I have 4 children, and I just sent my final one off to college, and going to the bookstore was not, I go, this isn't the bookstore I went to when I was a kid. Even your brothers and sisters had a much different bookstore, but you're right, snacks and everything else but books. Mm-hmm. There's a lot going on at Clarkson College, and I think a lot of people go up and down the Dodge Street corridor, and they see Clarkson College, and they go, what is Clarkson College? Mm-hmm. And I think I have a pretty good idea, but you're nestled in there right on that UNMC Nebraska Med campus. Talk about the relationship maybe between the two and how Clarkson stands out from the two.
Sure, absolutely. No, thanks. One thing, I started this position 2 years ago as president of the college.
Well, I forgot to say that. I apologize.
No, you don't have to. But the why I say that is because one of the things that the college community came around was we were going to really focus on 3 things: serving our students and community well, and continue to do that. We have high quality. We've been around since 1888, but to your point, most people don't even know that Clarkson College is on the corner of 42nd and Dodge. And so, and then increase our customer services. We serve a lot of community learners, and we can talk about that later, but, and then increase our financial sustainability through visibility. And so the visibility that we have right now, we are on that corner of 42nd and Dodge, but we hadn't been back to the city in 30 years. We're having a 4-story sign that's going to go up. MCL as a great partner is helping us with a large capital project right now as well. And we are the hospital-affiliated school to Nebraska Medicine, similar to Methodist College to Methodist and Bryan College to Bryan Health. And we want to make sure that we're seen as that healthcare pillar, because we've been around since, like I said, since 1888. So in that relationship, we are a private nonprofit institution, and as the hospital affiliated college to Nebraska Medicine, also partner with the state school, which is the University of Nebraska Medical Center. And so
I'm curious. You're landlocked for the most part. Mm-hmm. Was there ever like in a master plan to go, hey, we're landlocked? Do we go out west? Because Nebraska Med, UNMC is expanding out west. Was it always, this is who we are, this is where we are, and this is where we're going to be?
Yeah. It very much is about where we are and owning our zip code and being a good service, both rural and urban. People are surprised to know that 50% of our student body is completely online. 80% of them from Nebraska in some capacity, but the other 20% from about 26 different states pretty consistently. And we have the land around us there in that district kind of from in partnership with Clarkson Regional Health Services as well. And so we're really looking at what does the Clarkson district look like. We're in perfect position with urban core and everything that's happening in Omaha between the Blackstone district and the Edge district of what do we need to be for the community. And so we don't need a lot of land, space, or buildings, but what we want to do is make sure that we're serving that our community well throughout the spaces we do have.
So what would people maybe not know about the number of healthcare professionals that Clarkson pumps out in the community each and every year?
That's a great question. Something people would probably not know is that we actually start and graduate students every single semester. So we're a school that does not have a summer off. We actually run a summer cohort. Students in some programs can take some summer courses off, but most of our programs go year round. And so we're graduating healthcare professionals across the board. We have associate to doctoral students, which is also often surprising to the community. And we have over 350 graduates that we're providing for healthcare across the state. And most of them are in the Omaha metro and Nebraska area.
You know, I think a lot of people maybe go Clarkson College, nursing, but it's so much more than that, right?
Correct. Nursing is our largest program, but we have a physical therapist assistant program. We have medical imaging, radiologic technology, community health, psychology. We have a pre-health professional program that actually is a feeder then to UNMC and other institutions for medical school, dental school, physical therapy school, occupational, et cetera. And then also have healthcare business, both graduate and undergraduate. So we just started this fall an artificial intelligence literacy certificate, cybersecurity, project management, because all the health system as a whole is like its own city in and of itself, right? And so for all of healthcare, you need not only healthcare professionals, which is our primary focus, but you do need marketing and HR and information technology. So we try to serve as much of the business as we can too.
I got to believe that healthcare is just changing rapidly, not just on a yearly basis, but a daily basis. So I would think as a college, you have to almost be 2-3 years ahead of that. What are some changes we're going to see in healthcare, and how are you going to meet those needs of future students?
Another great question. And exciting because, interestingly enough too, we're in a space where actually higher education, people are really wondering, well, what is the value? Should I even go to college? Should I even be in higher education in any space? And so for us, it really is what we will continue to see is that even with artificial intelligence and everything that's happening with technology and the amount of services that a patient might need in any given time, because we also as a country are as unhealthy as we've ever been as well. And so what I see for Clarkson College and all of healthcare systems we're going to have to continue to double down on human experiences, right? So we, as crazy as it might sound, is that yes, we're teaching the technology. There's really cool things coming out. We have a 3D printing and training center. And so we literally dropped off 2 weeks ago an implant for a cranial implant for a skull. So we can put now, 3D printed parts into patients. So that's all changing and exciting. And at the same time, you don't think about healthcare until you need healthcare. And then you really want somebody that is going to care for you. And that is all of those human skills that are still going to be needed. So we're doubling down on it.
And I'm not asking a stereotype, but I have 4 kids. They range from 29 to 18. Mm-hmm. And I really, now maybe because their dad's somewhat of an extrovert and likes to talk a lot, I really focused in on the human skills and that EQ over the IQ.
Yep.
Have you noticed, I've read a couple books, just, kids today have been born with a phone and they've become antisocial and stuff. Is that something you have to teach now too, or do you see that is maybe lacking to was 20, 30 years ago? Is that human touch?
I would say the pendulum swings back and forth. You're not wrong in the sense in like the anxious generation, if you've read that or other books, it's very true that we're having to help people come to find those communication skills again and have a sense of belonging, as well as just the general things that we wouldn't have thought of before, attendance and showing up and how you even call in sick that day, et cetera. And so I'm, really proud of Clarkson College because since the time I started there as an adjunct faculty in 2003, we have always taken professionalism very seriously because you do have a life in front of you, right? Whatever that connecting point is, even if you're in the health information space or in our EDD for leadership program and you're leading programs, you have in front of you patient information or you have students in front of you. And for our students, we actually grade them on professionalism. And so we've been doing that for close to 20 years already. But to your point, yes, post-COVID, we're still coming out of, we saw a lot of isolation, and with isolation comes a lot of depression and anxiety. And so both for employees and students, you're really taking care of the mental health of everybody to just feel comfortable again being in spaces together.
So you are getting ready to embark or have embarked on a capital campaign.
Yeah.
That's no easy undertaking, and asking people for money is, some people like to do it, some people don't like to do it. But what is the capital campaign for?
So this is probably going to blow your mind, truly. This is our first comprehensive campaign. We've been in existence for 137 years. And
how does that happen?
How that happens, and we have great, like I said, we have great support through our hospital systems and Nebraska Medicine, Clarkson Regional Health Services, wonderful partners that have very much cared for Clarkson College. But how that happens is there's a kind of a general sense of what you have to think, what do the next 100 years look like, right? And so Clarkson College was founded actually from Bishop Clarkson Meliora, and I won't spend too much time on history, but it is fascinating history, and we share it at every orientation. Every semester when students come in, they hear our history because it was founded in service. We do 12,000 annual hours of service a year. And so the hospital started by Bishop Clarkson. He died. Meliora really felt like we have to continue to try to train nurses. We're the first nursing school in the state, and I think 35th in the country in 1888. And so that was always the driver of, okay, how are we going to stay relevant? And even in 1888, we're training healthcare professionals. How are we going to train healthcare professionals another 137 years from now? And so the foundation was an idea from our board and others that were supporting kind of different ideas, was we really need our own Clarkson College Foundation. And so we don't have a hospital foundation or we don't have other foundations. And so that's where that came from. And so, great group of people that have been around Clarkson College for a really long time, and our faculty and our staff and everybody getting behind the fact that we're going to do something that Clarkson College has never done before. And it isn't strange for Clarkson College to do that. When it came to distance education, we started that in the 1980s.
Really?
And we sent VHS tapes. Here we are on YouTube and everything you're going to do here. We sent VHS tapes to Gothenburg with lectures on it. So the campaign really came around, how do we make sure that we're going to help students, the community, the service pieces we do, the programming that we do, how is that going to be able to be assisted in perpetuity?
So how much money are you looking to raise? So
this first campaign, we're in kind of a silent phase of that, but the first campaign is around $30 million. Not around, it is $30 million. We've got great, again, partnership. We're financed kind of that initial first part to work on our buildings because some of the things that we needed to do were be able to increase some of the security, have a true front door. The Clarkson College, we're really happy to be a part of the 42nd and Dodge Tower that you see, but it was the previous Physicians Mutual building, insurance building. So we've made lots of changes through the years. And so we need to get that done right away for students. We want to make sure that they have a nice, safe, secure campus. They can get to any building without having to go outside. The elements always become a factor. And most of our students are commuter students because they're adult learners. Our average age of undergraduate student is 26 years old. And so with all that being said, then $20 million is going towards just scholarships for students.
So I know you've been bringing people through the college and letting them see that. What's been the reaction from the community leaders when you tell that story and they're able to, and they realize the impact that Clarkson College has made over the last 100 years.
It is truly one of my favorite things to do. We've had about 80 different tours with community members over just the last few months. And people are surprised. I mean, truly surprised of the amount of work and the innovation, the 3D printing, the simulation centers, of course the classrooms and the work. And they're a little bit shocked that we have never done something like this before. And the greatest part about it is actually excited to help, because again, that comment, and I say it frequently, but we don't think about healthcare until we need it. You want the best at that point. I'm biased. Clarkson College is the best. We have the outcomes to prove it too, but it's those components
and a mascot
and
now.
A mascot now. And you have to have healthcare education be a part of that path. And so investing in healthcare education is again, in my biased opinion, it's an easy win.
What is the job placement for a student coming out? Is it almost 100%?
100%. In fact, we have 98% only because 2% of our graduates go on to graduate school. So they continue then on to that professional career that they want, maybe in medicine, but then also our nurse practitioner programs that we have, or some of our master's programs.
So, the name of the podcast is Pillars of Progress. There's been ongoing progress at Clarkson for a long time. Our purpose statement here at MCL is to change communities and lives for the better. How is Clarkson College changing your community and the lives in it for the better?
For the better. Well, I think when you just think about healthcare overall, we change lives every day, right? Mm-hmm. They're by somebody that you probably know or will know at some point that somebody's there helping you. The other piece that I really believe changing life is this is a profession that I often say we're a school of second chances. We have a lot of people that come back for second careers, third careers, or students that have decided on one path and then changed it. I was one of those students. I changed my major 7 times. And if I didn't have an advisor that say, we're going to package this together and this means something, but you're going to graduate school, then I would have never actually came to Creighton University and moved to Omaha, Nebraska, and here I am 26 years later. It completely changed the course of my life. And so Clarkson College is that impact, and it's why I've been there for 22 years and will continue to stay as long as I can, is just truly that it's a family, it's built on service, and the impact is for us to make sure that we can change not only that professional life, but the lives then of those who are serving.
I'm going to ask you to throw out a number. You may or may not know it, but I was just thinking, okay, if I went to a clinic or I went to a hospital today, what are the odds that I'm somebody that went to Clarkson College is working with me? And how many former graduates do you know that are out in the workforce right now, just in the Omaha area?
Oh, it's a great question, and I'll be pretty close. We have close to 9,000 graduates now that we've and those across all 50 states. We know we're across all 50 states. But like I said, 80% of our currently enrolled students, and that's pretty consistent, are in the state of Nebraska. So the chance that you are with a Clarkson College graduate when you go to healthcare, for sure at Nebraska Medicine, I would say easily it's going to be 60% chance. Because we have over 56% of our undergraduate nursing students that just went to work there this last year. And then you look at all the other systems, I would say, and I do believe a rising tide lifts all boats. So I would say we're fortunate to have 3 hospital-affiliated healthcare professional schools in the state. And so you have Clarkson College, Methodist College, and Bryan College. I would say your odds of having one of those individuals at any of those is almost guaranteed.
You mentioned Methodist and Bryan. You compete, but you have to collaborate, I would believe, in some way. How does that all work out with the other schools?
Because we're all hospital-affiliated schools, we're part of a national consortium of hospital-affiliated colleges and universities as well. And so we're friends. We're fiercely competitive, and we'll talk about we're fiercely competitive. But if we help all share the same message that the world needs healthcare workers, we're always going to need healthcare workers, and it's not a skill that is going to be completely replaced by artificial intelligence. It's a very rewarding career, and its values align that if we can be all three of those, through all 3 of us, Methodist, Bryan, and Clarkson College, can be sharing that message, then by all means, more people are going to say, maybe I'll try it out. And then they find their fit of where they want to be. Every school, when you walk in, you decide, okay, this is where I want to be. If you want to be the best, you'll come to Clarkson College. But it really is that component of where they want to be. And some students walk in the door and see themselves. We're one of only 2 programs in the state that have a nurse anesthesia program. Some students come in the first day and like, I'm going to be a nurse anesthetist. Okay, well, there's a lot of steps before you're going to be a nurse anesthetist, but they start to see their path of what that might look like.
So how does a young woman from Casper, Wyoming end up as the president of Clarkson College in Omaha, Nebraska?
Well, Travis, that's probably the question of the hour, what that would look like. A lot of good mentors and a lot of good people along the way that say you can do bigger things than oftentimes you think you can do yourself. And that's our message back to our students too, is they can do great things, right? And they have great faculty and staff to help them do that. But I actually am originally from North Dakota, lived in Idaho for a period of time, grew up mostly in Casper, Wyoming, lived in Colorado and moved to Omaha from Montana.
Do you miss the mountains?
I do miss the mountains. We now live in the Less Hills of Southwest Iowa. We call home as well, but we thought we'd be here 3 years. Married my high school sweetheart, and so we raised our kids here. Our kids were born in Omaha and are now living in Oklahoma and South Dakota. But the long and short of that is that my dad always had a saying, you live where the work is. And so we live where the work is. And I think when I think of brain drain and everything we think about for Nebraska is that it's such a great place to raise a family. It's people are connected, they are hardworking, and the cost of living is reasonable, all of those things that it's obviously our home now, and we've lived and worked here. I've lived here and worked here longer than I've been alive.
So you went to Creighton for your graduate school, right?
Yes.
And was it physical therapy? Physical therapy. At what point did you say, you know what, higher ed's my calling, I'm going to teach? And then was it always to be a president of a college, or did this just kind of fall right into your lap?
And you're a really good student, because I didn't answer the question that you originally asked, is how do you become a president? I went to school originally to be a 5th grade teacher. And so teaching was always kind of a general calling. And so what happened was I worked in pediatrics as a physical therapist, outpatient orthopedics, stayed working at both places, but an adjunct faculty position came open at Clarkson College to teach in their physical therapist assistant program. And so once I was able to do that, I was hooked. I love being able to be in the classroom and the lab, and it's hands-on, right? And it's super relevant. And then again, people see things in you that you don't necessarily see in yourself, and they thought, okay, you should really maybe direct this program. And I'm like, oh no, I'm not an administrator. And then I directed the PTA program for about 7-8 years. And then again, somebody comes along and says, I think you really should do academic affairs. So I was our vice president of academic affairs. And then we went through a few different changes at the college. And when we were doing our national search for the next president, the interim president at the time said, you really should put your hat in the ring. I'm like, I'm not going to be president. I really love academic affairs. I love accreditation. Anybody that's listening to this from the college knows I love standards and processes and all those things. And sure enough, here we are. At the end of the story is they came back, went through the whole process. We had 35 candidates, you go down to it. And so I kind of joke with myself, I'm the most vetted president at Clarkson College because I've now been there 22 years. But I also say that presidency was about what could I do for Clarkson College. So I never saw it and I still don't see it as a title. Yes, it's a title. I take it seriously, but I don't see it that way in the sense that I am there to serve Clarkson College into this next phase. And that is with people around you that you're doing that with. And so I will be the president of Clarkson College, but I'm not a person that sees myself this is a stepping stone to be a president somewhere else.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to talk about that. I mean, having been there for as long as you have, since 2003 when you started as an adjunct, you've held different positions to where you might have a little empathy for everybody before. And I think that means probably, because if you bring in a president from a different state,
mm-hmm.
they want to be president and they have a way to do it, maybe not fully understand the ins and outs and the everyday things that every employee goes through on campus.
It's a great point. And I do feel like that you have to stay in touch with that, because we do have big goals for Clarkson College. And that's for relevancy, right? But we've always been able to pivot well. But it's a time for higher education to really reinvent itself as well. And so I'm so happy that I do work at Clarkson College, and we are geared towards health professions because we can protect ourselves a little bit from some of the noise that happens around what's that real return on investment, because we have great return on investment.
You mentioned community leaders earlier. How involved are our community leaders, and what do they mean to this campaign and the growth and the stabilization? It's stabilized, but I mean, over time, to the college.
Yeah. Our partnerships are truly everything to, I think, the existence of any nonprofit. So again, being a private nonprofit, they're key. Having people like Tony and Brant and Winsley and Heather, there's a lot of people at MCL that have been instrumental in actually helping the college see a little bit bigger vision too, or how you might do that. But we're not a discount school either. And so I would say our community partners, we have 12 themes that we focus on, and we're in true partnership with. We're able to provide scholarships then to those employees, spouses, and dependents. So it very much becomes, we're not trying to take your employee away for that second or third career, but how can we help that be a benefit for that organization, and then they can send their dependent to the institution and receive a $7,000 or $8,000 scholarship a year. And so we are really focused on partnerships are everything. How can we be a good partner and provide some scholarship dollars? How can they be a good partner for us and maybe be able to help us navigate whether it's how do you do a capital campaign, or what does capital projects look like, here, you should be on this board and advisory because we need some expertise in health education.
It's funny that you say that, because everybody asks me, whether it's a sports team, a business, is it the service or the goods you provide? I go, everything's about relationships. It doesn't matter if you don't have relationships. Nothing else matters.
Nope, nothing's gonna work. And relationships will come back around. So we always talk to students too, don't burn a bridge. We say it to our own kids too. But it's very true, is that even in hard times, you never know when you might see that person again, right? Or where that interaction that you had that maybe was only a semester long will show up later in life. And that's what I love. I think that's Omaha too. Omaha is one of the biggest small towns I've ever been in, but everybody does know each other to some degree, and they're willing to help each other out. But you have to have good relationships.
All right, I have to ask you this because I'm curious. It's been on my mind since we started this. What's up with the donkeys?
I love that. Probably empty nester, right? And so my husband buys sports cars, right, and fixes up sports cars, and I have turned our little hobby farm, if you will, into chickens and donkeys. Now, I will say that we blame our daughter a little bit for it. Our son would be more along with our husband and the cars and the motorcycles and doing that type of thing. But our daughter, because our kids are only a year apart, she was very concerned about Mike and I, and are we going to be okay without her, right?
I wish my kids felt that way about us.
But here's the. So she started bringing animals home. So we started taking care of her horse, and then we got a donkey as a companion, and I fell in love with this donkey. It's a miniature donkey. His name's Oren. He now has a friend named Eddie, because our horse is now a therapy horse for, we've donated him to be able to help kids both learn to ride and do mental health stuff. And but my husband and I literally told her at one point, we said, your dad and I, we liked each other before we had you guys. We're going to be fine without you guys, right? You don't need to bring us another dog home, more chickens, we're good. But that's how it started, was our daughter.
So how many donkeys do you have?
We have 2 donkeys, 5 chickens, 2 dogs, a cat.
No llamas yet?
No. Alpaca's been talked about, but...
Oh, that keeps you busy.
I think
you got to, and you don't have anybody. So you probably don't hire anybody on the farm.
Nope.
So you're running a college, dealing with everyday stuff, and then you got to go home and do chores.
You do, and I'm glad that you actually said that, because I don't remember if it was last year or the year before at a community meeting, but we talked about humility. So much we talk about every person on our campus is a leader, whether you're leading a classroom or you're leading a project or you're leading a division or a department. And the one thing I said is that when you go home and you scoop manure at the end of a day or on a weekend, and you're feeding animals and you're out there in your muck boots and you're doing it, it keeps you very grounded to how grateful we can be for everything that we have, not only in the United States, but to be where we are in Omaha and Iowa.
I bet you get some really good ideas as you're doing that, because it's thinking time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Fresh
good
air.
thinking time. Yeah.
Yep, fresh air, thinking time. Absolutely. I'm known to scribble on just about every Post-it or little sticky note or back of an envelope that there is. So,
man, that is awesome. Dr. Andrea Niebel, thank you so much for being our guest. I hope you had fun.
Yes.
Did I miss anything? Did we cover it all?
I really appreciated I really do appreciate the opportunity. It's been fun, and come check out Clarkson College.
Well, that's a good. Can anybody just go down and
Yes.
check it out? I mean, how if somebody wanted to do that, how would they go about doing it?
Yeah, if you're interested, truly, you can go down on the website, and if you're just interested in information, you just click on that, and you can set up the date that works for you. It's right there, automatic, and somebody will be there to help. If you're interested in just taking a tour, it's the same thing. Just reach out and let them know you want to take a tour, and if you just want to know what's happening from just an awareness side of things. So I hope you will come down and check it out.
I've been there a number of times just because I go through to help take pictures and stuff like that. There is a nice big project going on, 42nd just off Dodge. What are you building right now? Just so to keep everybody updated, because they're going to see some construction going on. What are you constructing at this point?
So with that construction on that south side, we'll have a welcome center. And so we'll have a true front door. The bottom will be student study spaces, as well as our 3D printing and training center area. That second level will be all community programming. We served last year 6,720 community learners, which is usually a shock to over 6,700 community programming. And that's medical assisting and nurse aid and all of those foundational roles. That's important too. And I do want to actually just take 2 seconds to share the importance of that is that is something that doesn't take credit. You can be done in 4 weeks to a few months and have a great job in healthcare. Medical receptionist, again, nurse aides, medical assistants, phlebotomists, those kind of roles. And those are needed just as much as nurses and doctors for sure. But then so that'll be that second level, will be all that community programming. And then the top level is a revamp of our physical therapist assistant lab and classroom and some of our faculty offices.
So lots of things happening. And for over 100 years, Clarkson College has made a huge difference, not just in Omaha, but not just Nebraska, but all 50 states. And it continues to grow and looks into the future for the next 100 years. Dr. Niebel, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And thank you for watching this edition of the Pillars of Progress podcast. See you next time.